Futsal fever has taken over Hampshire, with more and more teams joining the designated league in the county. Being the younger brother to football, the game shares many similarities, though futsal is much more fast-paced and requires a lot more both physically and mentally. I'm here following the University of Winchester's team as they look to secure their first win in this ever so competitive league. Here at Winchester, the numbers have exceeded expectations. They in fact have two teams which compete in the Hampshire Futsal League, so competition is very high. Tom Crow, part of the sports development team at Winchester City Council, believes that the sport will only continue to grow.
Looking from the numbers, particularly from this session, I mean, we started off around 15 and that grew to last week being 25. So it's a great deal with that. A few more teams popping up around the area. It's a developing sport as well, so that pushes through and helps with that. And the FA are definitely looking to do stuff with it. Quite a niche sport essentially at the moment. So there is even though teams are growing and there's more teams popping up, it's still played around that sort of, you get a wide variety within the competition. So as more teams grow and all teams get in there, it will sort of equalise out, and I think there's not many leagues about at the moment as well, so you do find that some teams are actually dominating it and some teams are finding it quite struggling, and sort of that will hopefully should iron out, especially with the growing participation.
All teams need a captain, and here at Winchester, James Eldridge hopes to lead by example.
Well, I guess it's just sort of managing different people really, so everybody's obviously different, there's a lot of people. And also actually being on the pitch whilst having to manage them as well. So, because obviously we have no coaches as a uni team, captains run everything. So I guess like being on the pitch, having to play and see everything that's going on and make adjustments like that, it's quite difficult, but it is challenging, but it is fun. Well, last year we struggled to put the team together. So we had like 2 games where we only had 5 players. Although if you've ever played futsal, you need subs.
Match day is looming. A tricky test against the Futsal brothers awaits Winchester this Friday evening.
For the last 2 games, there's been stuff that's going on defensively that hasn't quite worked for us. So we've been sort of working on that, so sort of man-to-man pressing, high up the pitch and stuff like that. Well, I mean, they've got a player that's ex-England, so that just shows the calibre of player that we're up against, but we can't focus on one player alone. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but we've got to focus on them holistically and as a team. They attack well together, so we've got to look at that and defend well against that. We've got to switch on, which is what we didn't do last game, and that's why we conceded a lot of goals. I wouldn't call it pressure really. I mean, we're up against some very good teams. I mean, Reading came back from an international tournament in Belgium, played us, so that's the sort of teams we're up against. They're good teams, and obviously a lot of this lot have come from a football background and the 11-a-side, and they're just 2 entirely different games. We really need a win.
After a frustrating start to the season, the boys have been on the end of 6-2 and 9-4 defeats, as the team have felt the high intensity that this league brings. A win is desperately needed.
It's massively important. It could mean we could go up to 3rd place in the table. It'd be big confidence for the lads. Also means some of the guys that haven't played futsal before can experience their first win. So it's vital for obviously the club, but also for the university, because we want the publicity to show everyone that we're actually a good team.
So the big day has arrived. Standing in the way of Winchester and their first win of the season were the Futsal brothers. Final preparations finished, now could they deliver? A disastrous start for Winchester as they fall a goal behind in the opening minutes, which is then followed by conceding a penalty as the wheels fell off early doors. A third then followed quickly after. Winchester were deep in trouble and we hadn't even reached the 10-minute mark. Then, hope. Winchester pulled one back to give themselves a real chance. Half-time, Winchester trailed the Futsal brothers by 3-1, but they were still alive and kicking. They still had another 20 minutes to pull this game back. The belief was most certainly there. The second half started like Winchester ended the first. on top. A free kick just outside the penalty box gave Winchester a cracking chance to get a second, which they did. 3-2, the pendulum swung once more. Tempers flared between both sets of teams, as either team could afford a defeat here. But the Futsal brothers showed their class in the final 10 minutes, as Winchester began to tire. 4 quick-fire goals blew Winchester out the park and condemned them to their third defeat in 3 games. The game had its few controversial moments, and according to today's referee, it's all part of futsal.
That's part of the nature of futsal. It's very fast-paced. The game does tend to get quite quick, and then you get little niggly fouls that people don't tend to like. The easiest way to deal with it though is just to call both players over, talk to them, and then you can kind of manage that. If you start dishing out cards early, then you're gonna start having red cards all over the place. But futsal as a game is quite prone to that because it's such a quick, fast-paced game.
Today was a hard pill to swallow for Winchester, but they still remain upbeat about the season ahead.
Disappointed. We were very, very much in it. I thought we were the better team for like 8% of the game. Better football. When we kept our cool and actually did the passing game and we played like we do at training, it works. But as we all saw it, there was a bit of a heated moment. Players' heads went, and being the older head as well in this team, the best thing you can do, keep calm. It's annoying. The referee she made some decisions which I couldn't agree with. She made some very obscure decisions, but at the end of the day, she's the ref. We can't argue with her decisions. We can't, blame her for everything. Personally, I think we were the downfall for ourselves. I thought when we lost our heads, it disappeared and our game fell. But until that point, it was 3-2, and I generally thought we'd have won it.
So Winchester are a shining example that the game of futsal is only getting bigger and better. Like in all sports, there is always another game around the corner, and Winchester can only keep looking forward in their quest for that all-important win.